Welcome to the Greenway with Mac, a channel dedicated to active transportation. The start of today's ride is in Emeryville, California, at Horton Landing Park. There will be a few branches to other videos that you can click as we take this ride, so this will feel a bit like a choose-your-own-adventure book. The first option shows you how to get to the Bay Bridge, while the second one shows you the route to the Berkeley Marina. If you stick with this video, then you will end up at the Emeryville Marina. Emeryville is a small city of about 13,000 residents that is wedged between Berkeley and Oakland. For years, the residential areas of Emeryville were cut off from the Bay Street shopping mall and the new connection to the San Francisco Bay Trail. These railroad tracks were a 3/4-mile long barrier to anyone outside of a car. At the end of 2021, the South Bayfront Bridge was opened, which connected these areas for active users, which becomes more and more important as Emeryville adds housing on this side of the tracks. Bay Street has a movie theater, a bookstore, retail shops that you see everywhere, and a slew of restaurants. It's a very common place for people to drive, but as you'll see, it's becoming a lot better for people outside of cars. A big reason for this is that the leadership of the city has invested in active transportation projects that make this choice safer. And the face of this investment is America's bike mayor, John Bowders. If you don't know him, he's the guy that vowed to remove a parking space every time someone tweets about sharing the road with bikes. He's the one who vowed to add seating to every bus stop in the city, and then did it in 2022. He's the pro-housing mayor who is beating their goal of units built in the city by 50%. He's the charming, bow-tie-wearing leader that you wish was your mayor. This is where you'll need to make a choice. If you stick with this video, you'll take a ride on Shellmound and ride towards the Emeryville and Berkeley Marinas using the Bay Trail. If you use the link above, you'll make a left and take the Bay Bridge Trail. This connector path takes you south and then west towards the Bay Bridge and the observation pier adjacent to it. The length of the ride covered in this video is 2 miles. Other than climbing the bridge earlier, the ride is perfectly flat. We need to turn onto Christie Avenue at the next light, and one way to do it is to continue straight to the bike box and use it to make a 2-stage turn. But if you don't mind a little vehicular cycling, then you can use this bike-specific lane that leads to a 2-way off-street bike path. This lane has its own bike signal, and I think little touches like the bollards signal to everyone that bicycles are welcomed and encouraged to be here. In that shopping center on the left is a Trader Joe's. Stick around and I'll explain where they came up with the name. This off-street path is a 1-block connection to Powell Street. If you had stayed on Shellmound, those bike lanes do take you to other interesting places to see, such as the public market, the Amtrak station, and Christie Park. These are some of the locations I'll spotlight when I do a more comprehensive video about Emeryville. Powell is a really big road with on and off ramps for Interstate 80, and we are able to stay off of it because of some clever, low-cost repurposing of the existing landscape. Look at the ground at the sign. I'm really happy this is here because it makes it clear that bikes are okay to use the sidewalk. While this pathway appears to have been part of the strip mall's original design, they have repurposed it into a multi-use path with very little cost. This short connection keeps us separated from drivers until we can get back on a dedicated bikeway. Instead of letting the perfect be the enemy of good and picking a tough battle with drivers over street space, the lesson here is to find a quick, safe, and suitable solution. We have 2 options here. You can continue straight on the Bay Trail north towards Berkeley, and you can click the card above to see that ride. Or stay with this video and turn left, which ends at the Emeryville Marina. This was my first time ever on this street, so I got on the sidewalk, but I realized I should have just used the bike lane. Traffic here seemed to move slowly, so I was pretty comfortable on this stretch, especially since I was on my e-bike. This bus is the Emery Go-Round, which is a free shuttle that serves the Emeryville area. There are 2 routes, one on each side of the railroad tracks, that do a pretty good job of covering the city with this service. The shuttles have bike racks and it is wheelchair accessible. The shuttles run about every 10 to 15 minutes, but do not run on the major holidays. This service is primarily paid for by the property owners in the business district. Trader Vic's is a tiki-themed restaurant that was originally started in Oakland by Victor Bergeron in 1937. Vic was a lover of rum drinks and had traveled to the Caribbean to learn how to mix them. In addition, he would pick up island-themed decorative items that would be seen in his restaurant. He eventually expanded to have dozens of locations across the world, many of which have come and gone. But currently there are about 20, half of which are in the Middle East. They eventually outgrew the Oakland location and moved it to this spot here, which is the flagship store for the brand. Vic is one of 2 people, the other being his rival Don Beach of Don the Beachcomber, who claimed to invent the Mai Tai. A man named Joe Columbe was on vacation in the Caribbean when he was inspired to rebrand his convenience stores. The tiki craze was going strong in the 1960s, so in a nod to Trader Vic's, Colombe named his stores Trader Joe's and adopted the island motif. While I chose to ride in the street, there is an off-street path along the water that runs to the end of our ride, but also runs all the way back to Interstate 80. Especially if you're doing this with inexperienced riders, I don't think it's a big deal to take the path. It seems like it could be relabeled as part of the San Francisco Bay Trail, but I couldn't find any information whether this or something else was in the plan for the Marina land. It is currently called the Marina Park Path. There is a ton of parking out here, so if you're looking to bring bikes or just walk the Bay Trail, then this could be an easy staging location for you. There is park space on both sides of us now. This strip of land has hooked to the right, so if you head to the marina side, you'll be rewarded with views back at Emeryville. Moving to the left is the city of Berkeley. The view will become unobstructed at the end when we get to the fishing pier. I'll show you the view from the other side in just a second. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next great bike route. And here is San Francisco Bay. The Golden Gate Bridge is visible on clear days, and if you look closely you can see it here. To the left of the city is the Bay Bridge. Click the link to see the spectacular ride across that bridge. And as Mayor Bowders would say, go outside.